Hello everyone, Linda Israel here, and I have a few products from Tattered Angels DIY Decor and DIY Paint, High Impact Paint, Glam, Tattered Angels Glimmer Mist, and Simply Sheer. I've also got some watercolor paper. I'm not positive, it's got a little bit of a texture on it. These were postcards. It was part of a grab bag from Canvas Corp Brands. And then these are some rubber stamps that I've had forever. They are close to my heart, and I thought I would just do some fun backgrounds here. What I'm doing is, this is the Mixed Media Mail Art Collaboration Summertime. Of course, the title may change when I actually edit the video, but that's the idea. I've done this before with a couple of ladies that are on the Canvas Corp Brands design team. And the idea is we are to use a postcard and make a background that will then mail to the next person, and then they will decorate it in the summertime theme. So what I thought I would do is a little bit of mixed media play here, and I've got these all lined out. So I'm trying to decide if I want to do them all at the exact same time or not. I think I'm going to try and see how this works out. So I want to put a little bit of some color and texture on this background. So I'm going to open up the sterling paint, and we're going to see if I can't do a little mixed media here. Well, since there's some on the lid, I'm just going to grab some of that, and I'm just going to swipe it across the page. I'm not really paying attention to what I'm doing. I'm just wanting to put something down on this so it's not blank. And since it's a neutral color, I don't have to worry about it messing up my background that I'm making. Okay, I'm going to use my heat tool. I'm going to dry this, and then I'll do the next layer. I have cerulean. I may be saying that wrong, but it's kind of a blue teal color. I'm just going to dip my, this is an old gift card, into the paint so I don't have to pour any of that. And I'm just going to kind of the midline what I think would be part of the sea, because I'm thinking summertime is people going to the beach and looking at the way the water and the waves go. All right, I'm going to dry this and I'll be back. I've got a couple of different things here. I've got some Tattered Angels Glam, and this one's called Sandcastle. And then I have some Glimmer Mist, and it's called Walnut Gold. And I think what I want to do is I'm going to spray first and then come back in with the Glam. So I'm going to move these apart just a little bit. And I've got a scrap of paper here that I think what I want to do is I'm going to tear this kind of at a random shape, and then I'm going to do one of these at a time really quick like. So what I'm going to do is just kind of cover up that blue just a little bit. I'm going to use the Walnut Gold and spray it over the top of that, and then I'm going to do each one the same way. Okay, so I've sprayed this with the Tattered Angels. I'm going to move these around so I can do the next one. I'm going to dry this a little bit, and then I'm going to use some of the Sandcastle on the page. I've just got a paintbrush here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to shake the Glam because all that glitter settles on the bottom. The other artists that are in this collaboration are Bea and Shel and Lena. I'll have their links in my description box for the blog hop or video hop that we're doing. So make sure that you check that out. All right, so I've shook this up really well, and make sure you always open your container away from your project, not over your project. It can make a big mess. So what I'm going to do is just kind of plop this on here. I'm just kind of dabbing it, and I'm not really worried about how thick or thin it is. I just want some neat texture. I'm going to do this on all the cards, just pouncing the paintbrush on there, kind of filling it in. Oopsie, I made a big mess because I wasn't paying attention. Let's see if I can rescue this. I'm going to wipe it off. Alright, so I'm going to use the paintbrush, I was trying to move things around and pick up what I dropped on my mat here. I'm not perfect. I make mistakes too. Alright, so I'm going to clean up my mess here and dry these, and I'll be back. When using a heat tool, this is a heat tool, with Glam, you can get some different effects. If you hold the heat really close to it, it will bubble. So depending on your application, you may or may not want it to bubble. So be careful where you place the heat tool on the Glam if you want it to dry with heat, or you can let it dry naturally, and it'll take it a while for it to dry because it's water-based, but it kind of has a lacquer feel to it when it dries. So it takes just a little while for it to dry if you don't use a heat tool. Alright, it's not 100% dry, but I think that I can move forward with what I'm doing here. So I've got a few colors of the Tattered Angels and Plain Jane, Glimmer Mist, and Mist. So I've got Gold Rim, Plain Jane, Chartreuse, Tattered Angels, Glimmer Mist, and Sun Sisters. And I think Dijon is another color that's like this. So you got to, again, make sure you shake up the mica into the liquid. So I'm doing that. And so what I'm going to do next is I'm going to spray these. And I think what I'll do is I'll do them one at a time so I don't get overspray. So I'm just moving these out of the way for a moment and put that pretty much in the center. So again, I've torn a piece of paper to kind of give me what I might consider a skyline on here. And I'm just going to take these different colors of Tattered Angels and spray them on. So I'm just going to take all the lids off. So just spraying that on there. And I'm going to go back with the Chartreuse without the, there we go. So I'm going to let this dry, and I'll do the next one. So I have these laid out here to dry, and I'm going to use my heat tool again. I'm just going to take my time and dry these just a little bit so I can move on. I don't know if you can see, but here's where I used the decor and DIY paint in that sterling in the background, and I left spaces in between. So it created a resist just a little bit, so you can still sort of see the silver or gray color behind it. And then that kind of makes me think of clouds in the sky. So I don't know, I just thought that was kind of neat. I'd share that depending on the layers that you put down, one will resist the other. And if you dry each layer in between, you can get cool mixed media effects. Do you ever have this happen? I just had that paintbrush that I went and washed out, and now it's disappeared. So now I gotta find a different paintbrush to use. Alright, so I found a different paintbrush, and I'm getting the Caspian Sea Glam. Again, shaking that up, and I'm going to apply it into the teal areas on my cards. Again, opening it away from your artwork. That's okay. I'm just going to kind of daub it on. I want some sparkle, and it's okay if it's somewhat messy. Again, this is just a background, so the next ladies will go in and add their own artwork on top. And sure, I didn't have to spend a lot of time, because many times whatever they're going to put on top, they may even add more to the background. But I thought this time maybe this will be further done for them, so that when they go to do their background, or excuse me, their toppers, they have something in mind that'll work really well and easily. And I decided to do them all the same because I like to see what other artists do with the same idea or starting point. So just like rubber stamps, you know, we may all have the same rubber stamp, but when we use it, it's completely different than when the next person. So I thought that would be kind of cool. So I'm making 4 because there are 3 other ladies in this swap. And I'm keeping one for myself so that I can challenge myself to go forward and complete this project. All right, so I'm going to dry this and also wash out my brush. What I didn't do on the last segment was I take the best cleaner ever and I will spray it once onto my paintbrush and kind of work that cleaner into it. And if I'm not in a big hurry to go rinse it out with water, that'll save it for a little while so I don't have to worry about it gunking up. So I'm just going to set this aside. I just thought I'd share that with you as a tip. This is a great cleaner to have on hand even for a mixed media artist. All right, so let me go ahead and heat this. And again, since we're using Glam, it can bubble if I put the heat really close to it. And I don't know if I want to do that, but we'll see what it looks like. I'm liking the way this is looking. It's coming out really cool. All right, I think I'm trying to decide if I want to find a Glam that will go up there. And I think the sparkles in the sea and the sand are okay. I don't think we need the sparkles in the sun area or sky because of the below. It's what's reflecting. Does that make sense? So you got the sun above and it's reflecting beautiful light, and that's what's causing everything to sparkle. So what I want to do now is I'm going to use some high impact paint and a rubber stamp to make some waves. So I've got the little waves here, and I just thought if I kind of kiss that too here a couple of times, that would look really neat. So I've got the high impact paint. Again, I want to shake it up because it can separate if it's been sitting for a while. Mine's been sitting in my drawer, and I shook it up a little bit before I started the video, but you want to make sure you kind of shake that up. And then open it up again away from your project. And I'm going to use a little foam brush, and we're going to pretend that this is just a miniature stamp pad, if you will. So I'm just getting a little bit, and I'm going to pat it on here. And I'm okay if it's not perfect. I'm just putting a little on there, and I'm going to stamp that over the water. And that's just going to give what looks like waves. You see it? I'm going to do the next one. I'm liking it. All right, so I'm going to put just a little bit right here and right there. So that one is done. I'm going to do the other three in the same fashion. Okay, because of the way this paint dries, you will want to clean your stamp quickly. So I'm going to put some of the best cleaner ever on here and rub it in with my fingers. And then I will go to the sink and wash this stamp. It's okay if the wood gets wet. You don't want to soak it in the water, but it's okay if it gets wet. So again, I just used the best cleaner ever, and now I'm going to go to the sink and wash this out and let this dry, and I'll be back. Guess what? When I stood up, I found my paintbrush. Apparently it had fallen in my chair. I wanted to show you my hands are still wet from washing my stamp. So you can see it's a little damp here, but all of that DIY decor DIY paint is not on there anymore. It came off. I used a little scrub brush, kind of like a nail brush. Of course, I didn't wash my hands, but I did wash my stamp. So I just wanted you to see that it does come off. And then here is my paint brushes. They're nice and clean as well. So now what I'm going to do is I think I want to add this little sun emblem, and I've been toying around trying to decide what color to make it, and I don't want it to be too bright, so I'm going to dig through my paint and see what would be the best color for this. As a part of a collaboration that we did at Creativation in January of 2018, we were given a few products that we were to demo and see how they reacted with the Tattered Angels, Canvas Corp brands, and Seven Gypsies products. And so I've got the, what is this? The Creative Workshop Champagne Gold Modeling Paste. And I really don't care about texture with it. I just want the color. And I thought that was a pretty gold. Again, I'm going to use the foam brush, and I'm going to see if this is going to work. So we're going to pounce it on here, and it's a little thick. And we're going to see how this turns out. So you can't really see that on here. So I think what I want to do is I'm going to do that once on each one just because that texture will be kind of there in the background. And then I'm going to go through my acrylic paint and see what I have in there. Maybe a golden orange or something. So I'll be right back. Alright, so I found some apple barrel craft paint. I think this is really old. It feels really old. I don't even know if it's going to work. But I'm going to shake it up and I'm going to apply it like I did the DIY, the decor paint, DIY paint. I'm going to pat it on here and let's see what happens. That's what I want. It's just subtle. It's not real bright. Alright, so I got that stamped on there. And the next thing I'm going to do is take the Best Cleaner Ever and put that on my stamp so that I can wash that here in just a moment. Well, since that's acrylic paint, it dries really fast, and honestly, I think I'm done. The last thing that I need to do is sign each card that has my name and the date that I made it, and then I've got to mail it off. I'll take some photos so you can see some close-ups of how these looked, but it was fun just making a background that these other ladies will then go in and add their take to it. Alright, so you saw how I created my mixed media postcard for this summer collaboration with Bea, Lena, and Shel. So I'm going to now decorate the pages that I have. So I'm going to start with mine since it's here on top, and then what I'll do is I'll open each envelope and show you what the other ladies sent. So since mine is kind of I want to say it's a beach theme, I was looking through some images from Calico Collage, and I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to fussy cut out a couple of these images to use on here. And I think actually what I'll do is I'll just kind of rip it. I've got some distress ink here, it's vintage photo. I'm going to add that to the edges. I'm going ahead and adding some of the distress ink to the edges of the postcard. Alright, I'm going to grab some other things and I'll be right back. Well, I grabbed a stamp set. This is an old one from Close to My Heart that I've had for a really long time. And it has a stamp that says, Fun in the Sun. And I thought I would stamp that. I've got a piece of ivory cardstock here and some Brutus Monroe detail ink. So I'm going to ink this up. I'm going to stamp it a little bit away from the edge because I think I want to rip the paper. So I'm just pushing straight down and holding it in place onto the paper. And lift. And there's my text. So now what I'm going to do is just take this and rip it away from the big piece of paper here. And this image is from Calico Collage. It's one of her pinup girls. So I thought she would look kind of cute on this card. So let's add some distress ink to the edges of this phrase. I think I've got a little piece of lace here. I don't know if that's too much or if that kind of adds to it just a little bit. I think what I might do is, this has been tea dyed. It was a gift sent to me. I think what I want to do is get a snippet of it, and then I'm going to color this. I'm going to use some Tattered Angels Glimmer Mist. So I just have a little spray box that I made out of an old perfume box, and then I've got some Tattered Angels Glimmer Mist in Curious. So I'm going to spritz this a few times, and then I'm going to use my heat tool to dry it, but being careful not to get the heat too close so that it won't melt or burn. So that kind of gives a little vintage feel to it. So I think what I want to do is kind of lay this out. And let's adhere it down. I've got, wrong bottle, here it is. The Best Glue Ever by Scrap Perfect. And I'm going to go on the back side of this image I'm just kind of making a swirly. I think what I may do is take this over to my sewing machine and sew it. So I'm just going to rub the image to kind of help spread that glue. And then I'm going to lay this piece of lace down and leave it there, and then glue this portion down on top. Alright, I'm going to go to my sewing machine and I'm going to add some stitching to this card, and I'll be back. Well, I just went crazy. I just sewed all over the place, adding stitches. I just think that looks really cool doing it that way. The next thing I'm going to do is I've got some glimmer, or what is this called? Glitter from Tulip. It's dimensional fabric paint. And what I'm going to do is I want to add some sparkle to her bathing suit. And I'm just adding a little bit on there. And then I've got a paintbrush. I'm going to go in here and just add a little sparkle. Alright, and then what I'm going to do next is I think I want to add some gemstones. Let me clean my brush. I used the best cleaner ever and just put a little squirt on my brush, and then I can work that cleaner into my brush, and then when I set this aside and it's ready to use again, or I can take it to the sink and wash it completely out. So I'm just going to take a old rag. That keeps that glitter paint from drying up and making that brush really hard. So I'm going to add some rhinestones here and there, and I'm going to do it with the best glue ever. So I'm going to put one right on the sun. Let's put one right about here, and maybe one over here. I'm going to close this back up. I've got this container of flat back rhinestones. It was a really good deal because it was half off, I think, at Hobby Lobby. And I've got Embelly Jelly by Scrap Perfect. And what it is just a sticky little substance that you can add to the tip of this stick, and then you can use it to pick up rhinestones. I think I want one of the big ones. I didn't get it stuck there. Right here in the sun. And then I'll get a couple of the others. Well, there is my first postcard using my images and the postcard that I created. So I'll set this aside and I'll work on the next one. So this package is from Bea, and looks like she sent a bunch of little goodies. So let's see what she has here. Looks like some kind of a vellum or something. Cool. I don't know which one. Oh, this might be for a different swap. I'll wait. I think she's given me options. Okay, here it is. Summer. And I think she was sending the winter ones as well. We're doing this for a couple of months. So I'm going to set this aside because I think she sent fall and winter. Alright, so her card has a bunch of circles or bubbles stamped on it. It's got some really pretty iridescent. She may have used some Tattered Angels Glimmer Mist on there. So let's see what I have image-wise that would look good on this one. And I think what I want to do is, this looks like she's on a sailboat. So let's tear this one. I've got a page out of an old book, and I'm going to make a little mat for her. Playing around with placement on this card, trying to figure out which way I want to lay the items. I think I'm going to do something like, I know it's similar to the other one, but I'm going to do it. And let's put a little lace on the side. So I'm going to add some Distress ink to the book page. Now it's a thin piece of paper, so I'm going to try to be really gentle because I don't want it to tear. So I'm going to adhere this down with the best glue ever again. My table is becoming a mess really quickly. It's what happens when I work on a project and I pick things up and throw them down and don't really pay attention to where I'm putting things. Adhere this down with the best glue ever again. I'm going to take this to my sewing machine and stitch around this one as well. Alright, I've stitched around and I'm going to add some of the glitter glue or glitter paint. I keep calling it glue, but it's paint. Use my little paintbrush to move it around. I didn't add Distress inks to this one because it had a really nice brown border on the edges, but I think I still want to add some rhinestones. So let's put one up here. Alright, so there is my second postcard done up. We'll set this one aside and I'll move on to the next one. Alright, so this one is from Lena. She's from Finland. And this is what she sent, and I think it looks like a beach scene, don't you? With a little bit of sand down here and some blue skies, or it could be water in the background. So let's see what image I think would work. This one. Why not? I'm using the same on the others. I'm going to use the same fun in the sun. These could be postcards you could mail if you were traveling. I'm going to add some Distress ink to Lena's card. Now, what you will want to do after watching my video is go to the description box and check out the other ladies and see their videos of how they made their cards, the mixed media background, and then how they decorated the cards that were sent to them. Sometimes I have to think about what I want to do next with it. And I don't know if I want to use another book page or what I want to use with that. I'm kind of going by what's on my desk. I made these little pieces of paper. So let me see what it looks like. I've got another little piece of lace here. Let's see if I want to use part of this. I've got some Imperial Blue Glimmer Mist. It's a really dark blue, and I'm going to spray this lace. So it gives it a really dark color. So I'm going to dry this, and I'll be right back. Alright, let's adhere these into place. So I'm going to use the best glue ever. I'm just adding a little bit of glue because I want to go to the sewing machine and add stitches. And I'm just wanting to hold it in place for a moment. Alright, I'm going to go to the sewing machine and sew around this. Alright, I've stitched around this one. I'm going to use some of the tulip paint and add a little bit of sparkle. And while I'm at it, I'm going to go ahead and place the glue where I know I want to put some rhinestones. So let's put one here. Let's put one here. Maybe one here. It's okay to add the glue now because it doesn't dry super fast, and in fact it'll help it because it'll be tacky and the little rhinestones will fit on there quite nicely. Alright, so there is my third card that I made. I'm liking how these are looking, they're really cute. Alright, so now let's see what the last one is. And this one is from, let's see, this was from Shel, and she wrapped hers up. She added some little bits of other papers in here as well. Let's see what she sent. So she's in Arizona, she's in the desert. So she sent me some mountains. So let's see what we can do here. You know, this kind of reminds me of, I know she's in Arizona, but kind of reminds me of New Mexico with the blanket. Then we're going to use the same stamp again, the fun in the sun. Why not? Since she's got really nice texture on here, I wanted more of the background to show. Let's just do a little snippet of lace here. And I like the way that blue looked earlier. Let's get a different shade of blue and see how it looks. So I've got sapphire this time. And again, you want to make sure that you shake it up really well. Let's spritz this on here. Alright, let's start adhering this one down. So again, I'm going to use the best glue ever. Then I'm going to go to my sewing machine and add some stitches. Alright, I've stitched around this one, and I'm going to add some glitter paint. Spread this around with my paintbrush. And there is the fourth little postcard that I made. So let me show you all of them. What do you think? Didn't those turn out really nice? I like doing this. It's kind of fun to get a background. So the idea that I want you to take away from this is you can take a mixed media background and embellish it to use in your artwork, whether it be to make it a greeting card, a postcard, a journal card. Put this on top of a junk journal, make this be the cover, make a mini junk journal out of it. There's no limit. You just play and have fun and enjoy, you know, messing with the different materials of texture and fabric and lace or whatever it may be. I hope you enjoyed this, and if you did, give this video a thumb up, share it with your friends, comment below anything that you have to say about how I did this technique, or what kind of mixed media background would you like to do and what would you put on top of it. Check out the description box to the links to my blog and my social media, as well as the video links to the other ladies, so you can see how they created with their cards. I thank you so very much. I really appreciate each and every one of you for watching. You know, when you share my videos with others so that they can find me, it just makes me feel really good. I appreciate all the comments, and I try to answer all of them as soon as I can. And just the views, I really appreciate it. So thank you so much, everybody. Have a fabulous day. Bye.